Good evening and welcome to this week's national news segment brought to you by L28 News. I'm Jacobo Garrido, and tonight we're covering some of the most pressing stories shaping our nation, from unrelenting wildfires leaving devastation in their wake to a sweeping and controversial move from former President Joe Biden as he prepares to leave office, and finally a historic moment in Washington, D.C. as Donald J. Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. Let's dive into this week's episode, all that and more when we return. Stay with us. L28 News starts now. We begin with the ongoing wildfire crisis in California, where firefighters are battling multiple blazes over a week after they first ignited, leaving a path of destruction and tragedy in their wake. The Eden Fire, which has ravaged the communities of Altadena and Pasadena, has burned over 14,000 acres and is now 87% contained. Despite significant progress, the fire has already claimed the lives of 17 victims, with dozens more injured or displaced. Fire crews are working around the clock to extinguish remaining hotspots, but high winds and dry conditions continue to pose a threat. Meanwhile, the Palisades fire has caused widespread devastation throughout Pacific Palisades and Malibu, scorching over 23,000 acres, with only 61% containment. The fire remains a significant challenge for firefighters as erratic winds push flames towards residential areas. Tragically, 10 lives have already been lost in the fire, and hundreds of families have been forced to evacuate, leaving behind homes and belongings. State and federal emergency services are mobilizing additional resources to support containment efforts, but officials warn that the road to recovery will be long. As evacuation centers fill, volunteers and aid groups are working to provide relief to displaced residents. While weather forecasters indicate that conditions may not improve significantly in the coming days, this wildfire season is already one of the deadliest in recent memory, with communities across California bracing for more challenges ahead. In Washington, outgoing President Joe Biden has issued a controversial series of preemptive pardons, raising eyebrows across the nation. Among those pardoned are his son Hunter Biden for charges related to his business dealings and brother James Biden, shielding them from any future investigations. The pardons also extend to several prominent political figures, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley, and members of the January 6th committee. Critics are calling this a politically calculated move to protect allies and preempt retribution from incoming Trump administration. While others argue it could be seen as a step towards easing political divisions, legal analysts say that these preemptive pardons are rare and may spark debates over executive power and accountability. Republican lawmakers are already vowing to challenge the legality of some of these actions, setting the stage for intense political battles in the weeks ahead. Finally, history was made on Monday, January 20th, as Donald J. Trump was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, marking his triumphant return to the White House. In a grand ceremony held at the Liberty Ball, where countless supporters gathered to witness his second inauguration, he delivered an impassioned address focused on what he called restoring America's strength, prosperity, and greatness. During his speech, Trump promised sweeping reforms aimed at revitalizing the economy, bolstering national security, and tackling the immigration crisis. He also pledged to undo what he described as the chaos and weakness left behind by the Biden administration. Trump's agenda for his second term is already taking shape, with sources close to his administration suggesting plans for tax cuts, enhanced border security measures, and reestablishing key energy independence policies. His return to office signals a profound shift in America's political landscape as his supporters celebrate what they see as a new era of leadership. That wraps up tonight's national news segment here on L28 News. From devastating wildfires that continue to scorch Southern California to bold final political moves for former President Biden and Trump's plans for a brighter future. Tonight's stories underscore the challenges and strength of our nation, and we'll continue to keep you updated on these stories and more as they unfold. I'm Jacobo Garrido, and on behalf of the entire L28 team, thank you for tuning in, stay safe, and good night. If you want to stay informed on the latest news impacting our country, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by scanning the QR code below.